Oh, man. Listen, what a goal. Honestly, nothing can get me down from here on in. Oh, God. Oh, my knee. But also my face. Whoa. Yes. Come on. Great goal, everyone. Seriously, like, it's actually extremely painful. Don't worry about it, G. We scored again. So it's all calm. We don't need to give you medical attention. Look, you got severe facial damage, all right? Is there someone, any number that we could call to help out here? I think my teammates, they're somewhere. Jeez, it's 3-0. Yeah, Sailors. We'll help you in a little bit, bro. Don't worry about it. Yo guys, it is your boy Nirin here, and you are watching FTW. This is of course the series where I bring to you the best and more frequently the worst of what football has to offer during the last 7 days. What's been kicking off in the world this week? Well, there's been controversy in the UK with calls for a certain dog breed to be banned after an attack in Birmingham this week. It's known as the XL Bully, and I'm not talking about James Corden. My concern is though, if you ban the XL one, surely they'll just buy it in small and medium. The problem is, a lot of these dogs are owned by people that want violent pets. They haven't got time to train them between sharing hate speech on Facebook, but they could have one last savior as Alexis Sanchez runs into the mix to stop dogs of any kind getting deported. Now, bad news, lads, it's been the international break. But the good news is, it's over now. Honestly, it's been tough getting material this week, lads. When I get my hands on the Don who invented the international break,
when I'm through with you,
you know what it does mean, though? England patriotism.
Come on, England.
First of all, we played Ukraine and drew in a game that I literally cannot be bothered to talk about. So on to the Scotland game, where we won 3-1 thanks to goals from Phil Foden, Harry Kane, and Jude Bellingham. Jude was on fire again here with a goal and sensational assist for Harold Kane. There has to be something wrong with this guy. He's not allowed to be perfect. He has to have like one testicle or something. To be fair, he can't identify buses clearly, as he got on the wrong one ahead of the Ukraine clash. He's been bringing out his signature celebration recently, and it's really getting in the way of his normal day-to-day life. Okay, let me see. I think, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, so obviously I was watching this, like, dead YouTuber, and he said you only had one testicle. Hey, yo, put both your hands on the wheel, bro. Right, well, I'm going to assume that I'm clear for takeoff. There can't be any other planes in the vicinity. Brighton tweeted that there was one player who was destined to win the Ballon d'Or in this picture, and then Jude Bellingham. I love the sentiment, but I don't think Calvin Phillips is getting a Ballon d'Or anytime soon. The guy's played 6 minutes this season. He's lucky to even be getting in the starting 11. It didn't take much for him to get rewarded with a call-up, I've got to say.
Huh. That was easy.
He's had a lot of spare time. He's been watching Top Boy all week and came with some new vocabulary to prove that he's half Jamaican.
First of all, we've got pussyo. You're a pussyo. Pussyo means,
But another man who got on the score sheet, Harry Maguire. In the wrong net. Call him McGuire, mate, because he basically played for Scotland. All he had to do was keep it simple, for God's sake. Ivan Toney was delighted, realising he'd stuck £10 on a Harold stinker. Fikayo Tomori's at England headquarters explaining why he's a better option than Maguire.
Maguire, who was playing for Manchester United, he became the biggest threat at the centre of Manchester United's defence.
But Harry's mum made a statement this week saying that it was unfair on her son that he was getting such a bad rap from the media and pundits alike after his poor form for Manchester United and torrid time for his country. I've not seen a Maguire this defensive over his family since the Mykonos incident. But I totally hear it, to be honest with you, and as someone who's grilled Harry, even on FTW, I'm probably being a hypocrite here, but I do try to avoid going at him personally. Ultimately, he should have just gone to West Ham over the summer. He has no confidence and needs to leave the toxic atmosphere and pressure of being at United. Meanwhile, one Scottish fan was giving it his all during the national anthem. Someone should probably tell him it's a friendly. Meanwhile, Gareth Southgate's at war with Phil Foden, saying there's a reason that he shouldn't be playing at central midfield because of what Pep Guardiola deploys him as. And off the back of that criticism, Phil didn't take too kindly to Gareth Southgate congratulating him for his goal at the end of the game.
Thanks, Phil. Now,
Sorry.
thanks for that, Phil.
Phil?
Now, people often talk about England involvement as the peak of their career. The next step down, the Sidemen Charity Match.
I mean, there's a big chance of heat stroke, and that's not the thing your dad does in saunas, guys.
The Sidemen once again held their annual charity match, this time at West Ham's London Stadium, with Sidemen FC winning 8-5 against the YouTube All-Stars and raising 2.3 million. And thankfully, this money actually went to the charity. A massive 8 goals for Sidemen FC, more than Chelsea have scored in London all year. Todd Bowley was practically drooling at seeing Manny score a hat-trick whilst having braids as his trim. Hey, you know what, actually, Dad? The 2-for-1 might be the one, you know. It was 31-degree heat here. You couldn't expect manager Mark Goldbridge to turn up in a full suit and tie in that climate.
There he is. Look at this twat. As if you'd go to Ellen Road as the manager and wear a full kit as the manager.
Meanwhile, Chris MD might genuinely be better than Mikhailo Mudryk, you know. It's just a slight problem of him from aerial duels, really.
This is huge! This is massive!
It started with Ethan scoring at his beloved West Ham's ground, which we love to see. Gideon trying to pick up the ball in the build-up.
What are you doing, you fucking nut?
Turns out Nicole Milana told him he was allowed to pick up the ball if he was outside the box. Things were tense between the two of them at half-time when Gideon realised he'd been tricked. Elsewhere at half-time, when Duke Dennis was Googling how to kick a football. Probably should have tried that before kick-off, but look, each to their own. KSI was caught doing his best Andre Onana impression. Meanwhile, at the other end of the pitch, and it's fair to say that XQC was struggling. Oh! After this, though, and it became the speed show. Unreal entertainment. A proper Brexit challenge, first of all, on Mr. Beast. The guy's tackled about 500k subscribers out of his knee here.
He wins that ball so much.
Call this man I break knees, because that's a challenge meatier than his recent streams. He's definitely improved as a footballer, but his brain still struggles when he has to actually make a footballing decision. Then his chance would arrive. A penalty versus his nemesis KSI. All he's got to do is put it to one side.
Make a wish,
Yeah, it was a wrap, I'm not gonna lie to you. Max Fosh brought out an Uno reverse card when he got a yellow from the referee. The VAR room were mortified seeing this. Fuck! Hey, he's got his ear, lads. Yeah, VAR decision, referee off. This needs to be a thing in real life, though I feel like Manchester United would need a different kind of card at the moment. Meanwhile, it's gotta be Goldbridge out after 2 defeats in a row. He was stressed out after their game, reading his emails from YouTube All-Stars board.
Ooh, I tell you what, I read that bad. I thought I was gone.
Now, another man that's been going through it is Paul Pogba, but at least he's determined to prove people wrong. Breaking, Paul Pogba has tested positive for testosterone after Udinese Juventus on August 20th. Paul Pogba is facing a 2 to 4 year doping ban after traces of testosterone were found in his sample after a Serie A match. Look, listen, at least it's finally some kind of positive result for him. This is absolutely mental, you know. I just want him to go 6 months without foolishness. The maddest thing is, he didn't even play for Udinese. He's taken PEDs to sit on the bench. They've not even enhanced his performance. Oh, wow, just look how he sat on that bench. Graham Souness had some aggressive words for Paul, waking up to see the news.
Ear to you, I'm not you.
I can't believe this, man. Paul Pogba must have felt like a totally different human, injecting himself with that first dose.
I'm the one that can see John Cena. Yeah, I'm the one that knows Victoria's Secret. You know, I'm that guy. I'm him.
Kylian Mbappe was having absolutely none of it when Paul offered him some dodgy paracetamol on international duty.
Sorry, you got the wrong guy.
Listen, son.
Get the fuck away from me, dog.
How's this even happened, you know? His brothers conspired to blackmail him in the past. Is he at it again? Paul stumbling out of the car after getting spiked by his own sibling. Matthias Pogba trying to sneakily put testosterone into his beans on toast. He's out for 2 to 4 years, you know. This guy's going to be looking very different by the time he returns to football. But honest opinions, genuinely, this is such a waste of talent. Paul Pogba's career for the last 8 years feels like just bad decision after bad decision. The pinnacle he could have reached is crazy, and the fact that he hasn't is criminal. Back on international duty, and there were some shock results across the board as Japan crushed Germany with a 4-1 win over Hansi Flick's side. I mean, this is a nuts result, but on the balance of form, it's not actually that surprising. Japan, of course, beat Germany at the World Cup with that goal that almost went over the line, and Antonio Rudiger looked like he had PTSD at full time. Honestly, Germany are in the mud at this point.
Are you not embarrassed?
It turns out when Germany did their cover-the-mouth protest, they actually stopped talking to each other as well. İlkay Gündoğan looked a little bit different during this match, and it's just members of this squad just aren't looking themselves at the moment. Everyone remain calm. There is a shooter on the loose. I repeat, there is a shooter on the loose. Oh my god, yo, there he is! You know what? He ain't hitting any targets. Okay, guys, don't worry. False alarm, everyone. It turned out to be a final game in charge for Hansi Flick, who was sacked afterwards.
Do you know Hansi Flick? Hansi Flick. Was ist das? Bundestrainer, German coach. Aha.
Meanwhile, for one of the goals in injury time, Antonio Rudiger suspiciously decided to pause and not track back instantly. Was he trying to get Flick fired on purpose? All he needed to do was bring out the knees up. Even more of a surprise result then. Germany bouncing back and beating France. So Germany ain't won in years, and then they go and beat France. All right, bless.
Au revoir.
These lot just got slapped by Japan, but now they want to go and beat World Cup finalists. The score was 2-1 here, but it was a late scare for Germany with a Griezmann goal.
Stop! I could have dropped my croissant.
Meanwhile, Marc-Andre ter Stegen was frustrated at his opponents after losing his clean sheet late.
The fucking baguette-eating dickhead frog.
Over in Brazil, and Neymar broke the international goal-scoring record for his country with a strike versus Bolivia, and that makes it 78 in total for the FTW resident. Thankfully, this segment is a net positive this week. Pele, the original holder though, will not be as keen on this result. Are you mental? We're gonna find out pretty soon there was some lost goals scored on a local pitch in Sao Paulo that actually take his tally to 348. You know what, actually, I found some documents that show that Richarlison's actually his nephew. So any goals he scores are added to Pele's tally, which takes it from 77 to 77. Now, we're taking a domestic break for a second, and at Manchester City, Erling Haaland is in the news, as it turns out he tapes his own mouth shut so that he breathes through his nose when he's sleeping to enhance his physical ability. I don't know how any of the stuff I've just said works, but best believe I'm trying it, until it's a disaster when I get out of bed as a man with asthma and try to do any physical exercise whatsoever.
How was that?
I'll be lining up a free kick thinking I'm the next Erling after velcroing my mouth shut for 2 nights in a row. Think about this, yeah? Tape your mouth shut and tape over your nose. You're getting extra performance. Thank me later, guys. Erling himself was off with Norway on international duty and was showing off, posting this with the caption Erling. On what day? 11th of September, and he's posted a plane emoji.
Here to report a crime. Yep. An international war crime.
The Premier League and FA have no choice but to ban him for the next 4 years. Sir, a second Haaland hat-trick has just hit the net. At Newcastle, there were some peaceful protests going on outside, conducted against the club's Saudi Arabian ownership, only for one kid off of TikTok to provide the cringiest content of the entire year so far.
We're all here to enjoy the Saudis play. So go away now. Don't want to talk to you. Well, what are you going to do? Have me arrested?
What a sad little life.
Anthony Gordon's gone completely off the rails, mate. Yeah, this is some of the worst content I've ever seen in my life. I don't know who this Donny is. Respect your elders. There's no need to talk to him like this pleasant old man like this. But shout out to Saudi Arabia, man. They've really made the sports washing work. From one Newcastle fan begging to be the main man to a Tottenham player that already is. As James Maddison defended his play style, saying it's just naturally how he is, and when he goes to get a roast with his family, he wants to be the main man. Here we have him walking into the dining room for his family Christmas dinner. Listen, if he's the main man, his family can't get away with anything. We've got James's little brother reacting to his grandma nabbing a pig in blanket before James can get there.
Nan, oh my gosh, Nan.
Do you think he won't confront his uncle overtaking the last Yorkshire pudding for the roast? He will.
You don't want this as much as I do. You don't need this.
To be fair though, if we're being honest, he probably uses his hands to eat a roast, because seeing as he's at Tottenham, he's not going to be getting any silverware anytime soon. Former Spurs man Harry Kane has apparently not started his German lessons yet, as his teacher is away on holiday. When's he starting his English lessons, mate? The poor guy's gonna be fighting for his life when he realizes what midfielder is in German. Poor Harold, I could already see him trying to pronounce hello, how are you as we speak.
I don't know if I'm gonna brush this, but the world doesn't think it's
Meanwhile, live audio of a VAR decision for Nathan Ake's goal against Fulham was released by the FA this week.
Possible offside. Right, a kanji. Right, line of vision. Wait. Right, a kanji is...
Sounds like a fucking Xbox Live party, for fuck's sake. I'm one line of abuse away from having my IP address leaked here. We've got audio here of Mike Dean livid when the on-field referee disagrees with his decision. Now back to international duty, and Italy dropped points versus North Macedonia. North Macedonians will be strolling around Italy with a bit more confidence next time they're in the country.
What's good, bitch? We out here in Milan, drinking sparkling water and eating some spaghettis.
They're rescinding Italy's Euro 2020 win, I heard, and giving it to England. Don't question the source, it's okay. And also against North Macedonia, Sweden tried to play out from the back with pretty disastrous results.
Tolinsson, svårt, och Törnqvist som räddar.
The greatest moment I've seen.
Denmark faced off against San Marino and unsurprisingly won pretty easily. The poor San Marinese national team still struggling to get that victory on the board. They're not going to do it when Denmark have got 152 passes to San Marino's 1. Tell you what, the one Don who completed a pass for San Marino in this game, he's the king of the town already. Heung-min Son was asked for a selfie with a young fan before realizing that it wasn't a Samsung phone, and due to his brand deal with the company, he wasn't able to actually hold the phone for the picture. Samsung are going to be fuming when they see him holding an iPhone.
Look,
That's not my son.
One fan betted that if Joao Felix scored on international duty, he'd run round his local square naked, to which Joao did score and did remind him of that bet. And Portugal beat Luxembourg 9-0 in the week. Look, listen, only the greats can lose by that scoreline. Alvaro Morata might as well have lost 9-0 this week, because despite the rest of his teammates getting great ratings, he was levelled with only a 2.7. One West Ham fan travelled all the way to Ghana to watch new signing Mohamed Kudus on international duty. Kudos to the guy. Honestly, that's a crazy journey. And when Mohamed found out about the story, he gave him a signed shirt to take all the way back to East London. Wholesome stuff. Bruno Guimaraes, his English is starting to show, I'm not gonna lie. Meanwhile, Kylian Mbappe was at the rugby as France pulled off a historic win against New Zealand. Oh, but who's that who's got the try down on the touchline over at Ireland versus the Netherlands? And it's fair to say this linesman could do absolutely no wrong. Meanwhile, Ireland's under-21s were facing off against San Marino and were gifted an extra goal by San Marino's defence here. What a lob, though, I've got to say. If he could just do that in the other net next time. Meanwhile, Ildefons Lima, a 43-year-old Andorran, played his final game for the national team, bringing to a close the longest international career in world football. Lionel Messi was also on international duty and scored yet another direct free kick, but he wasn't followed by a security guard, unfortunately. Therefore, there's only one man for the job, Rodrigo de Paul. At Uruguay, and they could have done with a couple security guards, not gonna lie. Tunisia's Hannibal scored against Egypt and brought out the Mohamed Salah celebration to rub it in his face. The scenes aren't going to be pretty next time Mo sees Hannibal out on the pitch. Meanwhile, an Ecuadorian reporter was caught cheating in a hotel room after accidentally flipping the camera over to a woman getting changed rather than himself whilst in an interview on TV. Sorry, that was my co-presenter there, but in the background. I apologize. It wasn't meant to be. Carlos, when are you going to pay me? I don't know what. Nice joke there from her. Now, though, for the moment you've all been waiting for, because over in Romania, I'll be honest with you lads, there were controversial scenes in Romania this week, as a game between themselves and Kosovo had to be abandoned during Euros qualifying this week after a subsection of Romanian ultras brought out a banner saying that Kosovo will forever be a part of Serbia. Now, I'm not going to get into geopolitics here on FTW, but Kosovo is like a free nation. Serbia still thinks that it's part of Serbia. Kosovo players refused to play until the banner was taken down, but the Romanians wouldn't do it. But it's poor form from a small section of Romanian fans. Either way, we're gonna have to rename it this week, lads. I do apologize. Now, over in Brunei, another nation that has a small place in my heart, and they're really looking to kickstart their international campaign. Yeah, they played the box, didn't they? Let's be totally real, lads. Mauritania's goalkeeper is not going to want to look back on this mistake against Gabon. Meanwhile, there was a crazy surprise from Uzbekistan, who managed to go to Mexico and draw 3-3. The goal they scored right at the death, Guillermo Ochoa had a stinker, but dramatic stuff only matched by one Mexican footballer deciding to use his entire body to tackle someone.
You've got to fucking die to get 3 points!
And for Spain's women's national team, Luis Rubiales has finally given in and has resigned as Spanish FA president.
No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir. No voy a dimitir.
He did. And it's fair to say that Luis can kiss goodbye to any other role in the FA. That's probably not a good choice of word. Now there is time for your goals of the week, international edition. And first of all, we start over at the United Arab Emirates, who are playing against Costa Rica, and Keylor Navas had absolutely no chance with this strike. At Honduras, though, and one of the more unique goals that you're going to see in goals of the week, as a corner is swung in, controlled up into the air, and in the same motion, bicycle kicked into the far corner. But finally, and for Liechtenstein, of all nations, shout out to the minnows, you know, because Sandro Wolfinger has unleashed an unreal volley headed clear after a corner. At Manchester United, and they're interested in signing Anwar El Ghazi. Sorry, excuse me. Eric Ten Hag can only sign players that are in his phone book, mate. Emerson Royale's clearly been bored during the international break like the rest of us, and he's decided to release a tune this week. The tune's gonna sound a little bit different though when he realizes he's been dropped by Postecoglou again.
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe.
Jonjo Shelvey's apparently on the verge of moving to Turkey on loan. He's gonna come back looking like a totally different man. But in Spain, and Thibaut Courtois is spending his time on his honeymoon wisely by training instead of spending time with his wife. I say honeymoon, actually, in the words of Gary Neville.
That's like a mini retirement.
Ronaldinho played in a charity match, or like a Legends match for Barcelona. He looked like his old self, skipping past defenders at ease, and even managed to find the time to drop the shoulder on a fan pitch invader as well. La Liga have decided to sponsor a Welsh club who are from a town that has the longest name in, I think, the entire world. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the Welsh language is crazy. And all the double L's are replaced with the La Liga logo. Mate, I'm liking this Spain-Wales link-up. Bootlegger's getting a brand deal in Ibiza as we speak.
Let's go and get ourselves a nice dos of it, per favor.
Meanwhile, Barcelona are selling grass at their stadium for as much as €420. This is funding the Cancelo deal. Let's be honest, Barca, they're just taking the money to pay off the debts that they've got. The players aren't seeing a single penny and will be confronting the club when they find out about it.
I would have given you the money. You're not giving me shit. You fucking know.
I would have given you the money.
You're lying.
Meanwhile, Leonardo Bonucci is suing his former club Juventus because he believes that his treatment on his exit from the club led to him suffering professional and image damage. No, to be honest, what led to him suffering professional and image damage was Juventus just being shit. But in France, and there's probably going to be some suing going on there as well, as in a game between Ajaccio and Bordeaux, the game had to be abandoned due to fan trouble, as fans were caught throwing ladders at each other. Where do you even get that in a football stadium? Hello all, and welcome to The Beautiful Game, the segment where we take a look at the poetic and brilliant side of the game that we love. We are back by popular demand for yet more glorious beauty.
Otra vez Cariaco escapa a buscar el arroyo de fondo. No, toco y voy. Bueno, la pared. Viene Cariaco. Le pega al arco. Busca pie al arco. ¡Gol!
And that concludes The Beautiful Game. Now, over in Saudi Arabia, and trust me, there have been some big names headed over there during the course of this summer. But the defending over there probably needs a little bit more work. You can't just head off to the shops, big man. In Mexico and the women's game over there, it's not safe for anybody, even your own teammate. Over in Indonesia though now, crazy stuff there, as Persib Bandung, aside from the nation, travelled to their most recent game in a slightly different mode of transport than the usual team coach. They travelled in a tank instead. Feel like parking the bus is going to have an entirely different meaning here. I just wanted to at least try and take a shot on top. In New Zealand, and shout out to Max Tommy, goalkeeper for Melville, who sent their cup final to extra time with a 98th minute goal and an equaliser in the dying seconds of the match. In Brazil and at Havaí, I don't think this guy's enjoying himself with the angriest throw-in of all time. I don't think I've ever seen anybody side arm a throw-in before, by each to their own. I'll be honest, this shirt really needs to decide who it wants to be made by, but if we look down and zoom in at the short, now listen to this. Over in Malaysia, right, you've done set piece training for the entire week, right? And you decide as a squad you're going to catch out the opponents by all running forward. It's a great plan, great offside trap. It's going to work a charm until you realise that one player was working from home when you came up with the plan. Why are you there? In Costa Rica, and they decided to put on a mascot race. One mascot managed to get away clear and win it all whilst there was absolute pandemonium in the background. And in Japan, there's no sympathy in the J-League. If you get injured, you're getting chucked off the field. Closer to home, though, Manchester United's under-21 started off sensationally against Sunderland, taking a 5-goal lead. Now, you'd think the game would be wrapped up there, realistically. But no, they managed to throw away a 5-0 lead and drew 5-5 with Sunderland. Down in the Vanarama National League, and goalkeeping standards have really dropped this year. Fucking hell, who's signed Gideon in the 5th tier? It's seemingly even worse down at Aldershot. They haven't got anybody in goal. Meanwhile, one Kenyan Manchester United fan, upon losing to Arsenal, had to go to hospital after eating 15 boiled eggs. I have so many questions. Why? We've really got to crack the case on this one. In Chilean, there were late goalkeeping scenes there too, as in the 90th minute, and Deportes Temuco's shot stopper managed to head into the back of the net. One dog over in Brazil is a massive Fluminense fan, and when they scored, he was celebrating wildly. We've talked about goalkeeping standards already today, but in Paraguay, it might have hit an all-time low.
Individually, he's proved himself to be the most dangerous and best player in world football.
Now though, it's time for Still 0-0, and you guys know the score by now. This is a segment of the show where I bring you the best of Sunday League and amateur football, and we're heading all the way to Ecuador. It's not for good reasons either, because this Ecuadorian amateur match had to be abandoned after a player and referee got into the almightiest of scraps. This might as well have been a UFC cage fight. They could have formed a 3-part undercard in the time that this fight took place. Moral of the story, don't fight referees, especially in South America. They'll fight back. On to the weird stuff though now. Down On in the non-leagues of English football, and Scunthorpe United faced off against Buxton this week, but late on and there was the almightiest of downpours, to the point where players were reporting they couldn't even see the ball in front of them. The referee blew early, people thought the game was over, but in actuality he'd abandoned the game due to the poor weather conditions, and so now nobody really knows what the result was. I mean, it's no excuse to me. You'd think Buxton would be able to handle a little bit of water, really. In Ghana, and one footballer has married his club's CEO. Yep, listen, I don't know the origin, the love story for this one, but I think it's fair to say this guy will be remaining in his club's starting 11 for the foreseeable future. And finally, some wholesome news over for the British Virgin Islands, who won their first game in 11 years on an international level by beating Turks and Caicos Islands over in the Caribbean. 3-1 was the final score, and honestly, it gives hope to everybody else. San Marino, your time is coming. That, though, is going to wrap up football this week, and I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, then feel free to slap a like on the video, and of course, subscribe if you're new to the channel. You can also follow me on social media. It is at officialfng on Twitter and on Insta. It's been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a wonderful day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.